Dun, 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 dun. What else here? Look at all these bad boys. UNST. Ooh, what about UBNT? This one I like. What do you think? Oh, yeah. So this one I like. So they just had top street estimate miss on revenue. All right, so you already got a little rollover on this one. This one's got room to fall, I think. I think we roll with this. Putting that. That's my number one. That's my number one, and I'm sticking to it. What's up, everybody? Cool. UBNT, that's my number one for today. The rest of these are garbage. Garbage. All right. Bum. UBNT. Win. What do you think about Win? So Win is kind of gapping down here into no man's land. That's not really my cup of tea. I'd probably leave that one alone. Blah, blah. So let's take a look at the general market here. We'll clean up this list in a second. Apologize for showing up late. You know, it's for us single men, Thursdays are Fridays, and Wednesdays are Thursdays, and Sundays are Fridays, and sometimes I wake up a little late, if you know what I mean. So look, we kind of gapping down in the market again, but we're still holding over the 50 SMA at this point. So, you know, as long as we hold over the 50 SMA, we're going to be in a little bit of a chop zone. You'll be in the nut zone unless you kind of break out of range. So today, like if you break below the low on the 9th, then, you know, it's all systems are go. We just keep shorting the crap out of things. You know, we just look for a new level of support. If we start to kind of, you know, bust over some levels and make some higher highs and stuff like that, then that's where, you know, we'll start to get. But we've got levels of resistance here now building. Like, if we open up strong, we've got resistance over here. And if we break over here, we got a ton of resistance over here where we'll have to be. So that, like, really that 187, I think, is going to be the tough spot, even if we start to get a little bit of squeeze. The market's still weak on this trade deal stuff. In the end, like, you could throw your charts out the window. If the Trumpster says the trade deal is set, we're going to tell these Chinese people what American justice is all about, then, you know, we're going to run probably right back up to highs. But, you know, as long as they kind of keep fooling around and saying, hey, it's not on, then it's on, then we might drift lower, because that's just it. In the end, like, news trumps, right? News always trumps technicals, you know. They tend to follow each other, but yeah, news is news, and all they got to do is a late Friday announcement, and then the market squeezes back up. Usually how this shit works, though, is, you know, they'll let the market fade off, then they'll announce it like Saturday. The market gap up 300 points, and then we'll just be all chasing our dicks around because, you know, that's just the nature of the game. On some of the up gappers, this GH, I think, is the number one so far. You got 38 million share float. You're coming out of this kind of like triangle thingy, right? We'll just call that a big long flag, right? And I think that this one's going to have some heat. It's been, you know, it used to be $110. So we know this thing moves. And this thing is, I think, my gut feeling, this is going to be probably, if the market holds and everything else that we're looking at does what it's going to do, then this is my favorite on the long side. Roku still on watch for a day two. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pull back like 3 or 4% today. But in general, you know, my thinking is that last flag breakout, you know, if we could come back and hold that area and then rebound, we may come in and go red to green on something like that. Nick G! So I do still like Roku. Probably this one's got the look of something that's going to hit 100 over the course of, you know, the next month or two. Hopefully you get a dip or something, but you got a flat top breakout here, even on your weekly chart. Anytime you get an IPO type of stock, so this is 2017 IPO. It's still considered a new issue. this is a powerful breakout. That, the reason this thing went so hard yesterday was obviously, when you get a newer IPO stock and you get an earnings beat, you get the big volume coming in, and then you get a chart breakout. That's like the perfect storm recipe for like a breakout that can follow through. Versus like, sometimes you get a breakout like this, right? Like this JD's popping on earnings, but like it's just kind of gapping into, right, no man's land. It's not necessarily a breakout to highs or a breakout to lows or anything like that. And so that's where, like, you get the lack of follow through, right? So when you get like cleaner breakouts or breakdowns, you're going to have like a lot better, you'll just have a lot better plays. So just kind of something to be mindful of when you're day trading. I'm going to just clean this up and take off a lot of this stuff from yesterday. Yes, key. So I got JD on watch, but I'm only going to hit this thing if it busts loose kind of over this 31 spot. It's got to clear that resistance before I'm interested in it. If it stays under, then I'm not. The other caveat on this, even though it's already done like it's done 5 million shares in volume, so you can't ignore that either. But the only big caveat on this is like if China stocks get dusted, and you're right, Fernando, Momo is going to be on the list too. If China stocks get dusted, is this thing going to hold up on earnings? I don't know. It could. We'll have to play what we see. But if all its friends are, getting dusted, then what are the odds that this one hangs out? We'll have to let the chart, show us what it wants to do. Obviously, we're getting a lot of strength here, even in the pre-market because this first dip was bought. So I'll keep that on the list. This drop box, I would give it a kind of more of like a C+, B-. You're busting out over the 200 SMA. This thing's really been dusted over the last couple, few months. If it can hold out over the 200, I'll put it on the watch, but this is not a priority. Like, it's not a top watch. GoPro looks... I'm taking that off the list. PBYI, I got a nice clean breakdown here, under 20. This is probably a stock that can move pretty fast too. So PBYI, like in general on this particular name, it could just, it could get dumped at the open. So I like that kind of play. When you get like a nice little pre-market, just kind of shredder already, we'll keep an eye on this one. I think that this one, my issue on this one's going to be, it's already down 40%. I'm going to need to let it pop and, work its way out. FGen, blah, blah, blah. This one's blah, blah, blah. And then we got Yelp too. So UB&T's the fave. I'd go Yelp number 2. GH is actually number 2. Yelp's number 3. Roku green, red to green, potentially. Then we'll go GDOT. And then these all are, like this PBY has done 35%. Not really, not really that hot. But, we'll see. Let's see. A couple of you guys are asking about the Tigray. I'd be interested in Tigray. Under 8. Under 8. But otherwise, really not my cup of tea. I mean, it is due for a rubber band bounce. The rubber band bounce is like the hardest setup to, time. The shorting rubber bands is much easier, but timing rubber band bounces is very, very tricky business. And the reason is that when you're trying to go counter trend, you usually have to try, like quite a few times to get this thing right. Crypto Omni, just here in Florida, what's going out? Hey Timmy, what's up, baby? How are you? Good, Mr. Dixon, what's up? Nikki, NVRO. Yeah, so NVRO, this is kind of more of a secondary play. If it can get under this 200, I think, take a little goose in the gander on this. But otherwise, not a chance. What you want to do, guys, like, I have like 4 monitors. I can watch a lot of just junk. But, if you can't watch as much stuff as me, right, clean up your list. Clean up the list and just put in like, try to keep like just 5 or 6 names that you really like, and that'll help you because you definitely probably don't need all these. I like watching them because we wheel and deal, but that's my job, right? I run the chat room. I got to wheel and deal. For the rest of you guys, it's probably better to have just a focused list. You probably don't need to watch like this many plays. For day 2 plays, I keep Momo, Mitch, all these kind of ones that we've been playing the last few days. Etsy, definitely TTD. We had a nice short on this end of day, and then it's still got some action on it. So we'll kind of keep all these on watch for potential day twos, and then we'll have to see what the Trumpster says. We'll have to see what the Trumpster says on this stuff, because in the end, that's really going to be, that's going to be the tell-all of everything. I got Momo on the list still, too. It looks like they've got, who knows? They've got all sorts of problems going on. They might be even beyond the Trumpster, right? All right, rock and roll, guys. It's Friday. Let's go do what we do. It's been a fun week. Better trading action this week, the last 2 weeks, than there's probably been in a little bit of time. So I think that we are going to have some fun today. Let's go and do what we do. Everybody's been throwing out awesome ideas in the chat room. Always appreciate Brandon, very active this week. Mr. Craig, very active this week. Chris Shoesmith, very active this week. Carlo, very active this week. Sal, very active this week. Always good to see. Top Shelf Tony, good to see you around this week. Let's go do what we do. Let's have a little fun.